here's our 1.3 homework help video. For number 3, it says find the sum, use the number line to verify your answer. For the sum of this, I see two negative numbers, meaning that my answer is also going to be negative. I'm going to use the values of them, 4 and 1. 4 plus 1 is 5, and I said my answer is negative, so we have that. All right, on a number line, we can check it by saying, hey, I'm going to go to 0. My first number is negative 4, that's where I'm going to start. My next number is negative, so I'm going to go left, and I'm going to go one spot to the left, which is negative 5. For subtracting, remember we just got to line up all of our place values, 451, 268. Subtracting this out, we get 4, 11. 11 minus 8 is 3, 4 minus 6, can't do it, so I got to borrow again. 14 minus 6 is 8, 3 minus 2 is 1. I get 183. For number 9, what is the range of the numbers below? The range always refers to the biggest value minus the smallest value. Right? It's how wide is our data set. So I'm going to do 30 minus 12, which ends up being 8 and 1. So my answer is C, 18. All right, 13, 16, 17, 18, and 20 are all adding rational numbers. So again, make sure we're following our addition rules. If I have two negatives, right, I'm going left and then going left more, so I should be more negative. For this one, I do need to change this into a mixed number, so I'm going to add the top, multiply the new denominator and whole number. 5 times negative 1 is for negative 5, plus 1, or plus negative 1 is negative 6/5, plus negative 3/5. I have two negatives, so this is going to end more negative. Keep my denominator. 6 plus 3 is 9. I get negative 9/5. If we change it back, we would get negative 1 and 4/5 as well. All right, number 16. Again, place value is the most important thing here. I see I have a positive and a negative, so I'm going to look and take the absolute values of both. Right, 12.48 is bigger than negative 10.636, absolute value-wise. So when I go and set it up, I'm going to make sure I subtract using 12.48 on top. The only thing we have to do is add a 0 to the top here, so our place values match up. And then we can go ahead and subtract these two. 10 minus 6 is 4, 7 minus 3 is 4, 4 minus 6, can't do it, so I got to borrow. 14 minus 6 is 8, 1 minus 0 is 1, and 0 or 1s cancel out. So we get an answer of 1.884. Check to make sure the signs match up. 12.48 is the bigger value, so my answer should stay positive. All right. 17, I have negative 2 and 1/6 plus negative 2/3. Again, both of these are negative, so I should expect a more negative answer. When I go ahead and around the world this, I get negative 2 times 6, which is negative 12, plus negative 1, which is negative 13 over 6, plus negative 2/3. Changing to common denominators, I multiply this side by 2. So we get negative 13 over 6 plus negative 4 over 6. Okay, my answer stays negative. I keep my denominator the same. 13 plus 4 is 17. We get that for an answer. All right, negative 20.25 plus 15.71. That is going to be, we take the absolute value of both, 20.25. 15.711. Okay, they are opposite signs, so they are going to kind of cancel each other out here. The absolute value that's the greatest is 20.25, and then I go 15.711 on the bottom. Add in my placeholder 0, and then we can subtract. This is a 9, 3. Got to borrow all the way from over here. 5, 4. So we get 4.539. The negative was the greater absolute value, so my answer stays negative. Finally, for this one, I have 15/4 plus negative 4 1/3. When I go around the world on this one, I end up with negative 13 over 3. Okay, I can't add these or subtract these yet because I've got different denominators. So I'm going to multiply these two together to get a common denominator of 12. Right? To get to 12, I had to multiply by 3, so we're going to multiply the top by 3 and get 45. This I had to multiply by 4, so we're going to multiply by 4 on top. 13 times 4 is 52, and that stays negative. All right, when I look, well, I've got a positive and a negative, so this is going to kind of work against each other. Right, I'm going to take my two numerators and subtract them since they have different signs, and I get 7. So my answer is going to be 7/12, but I keep the sign of the bigger value, which is negative. All right, my bank account balance is negative $20.85, and I deposit, which means add, $15.50. What's my new balance? Well, I have a negative and a positive working against each other for the absolute values. 20.85 is bigger than 15.50. So when I set this up, we're going to subtract like so. 5 minus 0, 5. 8 minus 5 is 3. And then I have 5 there. Because 20.85 is my greater absolute value and it's negative, my new balance is going to be negative $5.35. There we go. All right, to the back side, number 27 says you're adding two rational numbers with different signs. How can you tell if the sum will be positive, negative, or 0? Well, we've kind of already discussed this, right? It's going to be positive when the positive number has the greatest absolute value. Okay, we would then put that one on top and take that sign. It's going to be negative if the opposite's true, if the negative number has greatest absolute value, AV. And it's going to be 0 if the absolute values match / they are equal, right? We call these 0 pairs or an additive inverse, right? When I add them together, I'm going to get 0. All right, 30 and 31 tell how the commutative and associative properties of addition can help you find the sum using mental math. All right, well, I can use the associative property to move my parentheses around. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rewrite it like this. Okay, why? Well, it's going to be really nice because 1/3 and 2/3 added together. If we add our numerators, it's going to be 3/3, which is just 1. And then when I add 5/8 to it, well, I can kind of just smash them together to make a mixed number, and I get 1 5/8. Okay, instead of adding the 2 right away and then trying to add it into the third, right, we can switch our parentheses around using associative properties, and then we can get there. Okay, so for how does this help? It allows us to make 1, and then we can add the 5/8. For the next one, for commutative, okay, I'm going to kind of flip around the inside of this right away. Okay, 8 1/2, it's negative, plus 4 1/10. Okay, what is that going to do? Well, that's the commutative, which says I can flip around as long as I keep my signs. The associative says I can move around my parentheses. Okay, so instead I'm going to change where my parentheses are. And why would I do this? Well, let's take a look. I have positive 8 1/2, negative 8 1/2. Those are additive inverses of each other. So this whole thing together is going to be 0. And then when I add 4 1/10, well, I'm just going to get 4 1/10 as my answer. Okay, why is it helpful? Well, it can help us find 0 pairs to then cancel things out. All right, 33 and 34 is just having us add multiple rational numbers together, right? We want to make sure we get these all into the same form. Okay, so I'm going to change this fraction into a decimal by taking the denominator and dividing it into the numerator. 5 does not go into 4, but 5 goes into 48 times. So I get a decimal of 0.08, meaning we get something like this. Okay, Adding my two positive values together, 12 plus 0.8 gives me 12.8. Right, now I have opposite signs. I'm going to take the absolute value of each, set them up like so, giving me an answer of 8.5. We're going to take the absolute, or the sign of the bigger number, or the bigger absolute value, which is positive, giving me an answer of 8.5. For the second one here, notice two of them are fractions, and 0.5 is really easy to make as a fraction. Right, if I think of 0.5 or 0.50, that is half of $1. So really, this is 7.5. Okay, when I add everything else up, we get something like this. And then I can just add my fractions. So let's start with these two. I'm going to change each of them. This is going to be 16 thirds. This is going to be 15 halves. My common denominator I can make is 6. So 6, this is times by 2, which is 32. This is times by 3, which is 45. Okay, and then this one is already a denominator of 6, so we can do 6 times 3, 18, plus 1 is 19 over 6. All right, 32 plus 45 is going to be 77. Right, I combine those two, plus negative 19/6. Now I've got two different signs going on, so I'm going to subtract. 77 minus 19 is 58. So we get 58 over 6. This is going to be positive, since the positive was the greater absolute value. Or we could say this is going to be 9 and 4/6, which also simplifies to 9 2/3. Just like that. All right, last problem here. The table shows the annual profits in thousands of dollars for a county fair from 2013 to 2016. What must the 2017 profit be to break even? Okay, this break even concept is just have a profit of 0. So I'm looking at the end to see what do I need this last year to be to make this all be 0. So we add everything together. All right, I'm going to work backwards here a little bit. Okay, 2014, and then 2013. Okay, let's take a look at some things. Well, first thing I notice, my 2014 and 2016 values are opposite, or 0 pairs, so I have a 0 there, meaning I can drop them out, and I'm just left with this, plus some number 0. Okay, these two added together, they don't like each other, aka they have different signs. Take the absolute values of both of them, put the bigger one on top, subtract them out. We get 0.8. The negative one had the greater absolute value, so this is going to be negative 0.8 plus some number 0. I'm going to think, what number do I have to add to negative 0.8 to get back to 0? Well, it's its opposite, or its additive inverse, which would be positive 0.8. So the profit in 2017 is going to need to be 0.8 or $800. There we go.